If you own a lawn care business, then you know it can be extremely lucrative until the months of October and November, that is. And that's because if you live anywhere north of Alabama, then typically the grass stops growing. And at that point, you're kind of out of luck. Now, if you put back a little bit of money, then you might be okay. If you haven't, then you're in for a rough time until it starts snowing. That is, if you do snow removal. And especially if you have employees, good ones at that, then you know how important it can be to keep them paid through those slow months. So what I started doing last year is leaf removal. But if you've done leaf removal before, then you know it can be pretty time consuming and pretty strenuous, especially if you rake and bag or blow and bag. Because not only do you have to take the time to put all the leaves in the bag, but then you got to find something to do with all those bags of leaves. Now, sure, you can rip them all open, empty them out, leave them at your customer's house, hope the heavy trash picks them up or somebody removes them for you. But today I want to show you what we do to remove the leaves and keep the money coming in. And I'm going to give you a rundown of how we do it and a cost breakdown of how much everything costs. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, and let's take a look at what we've got going on.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Let's go! I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, I'm never second guessing.
So what you just saw there is our leaf vacuum setup with the box that we built. This is a new box for this year. We've done a couple revisions over the past few years. This one I think I like the most, and I might even continue to build it up more and leave it on through the season next year. But let's go ahead and take a look at exactly what I've got here, how I built this, and the leaf vacuum that I've been using that so far has done pretty dang good. So essentially what we've done is we've built a box on this 14-foot by 6.5-foot single axle trailer. The box does have doors, so if I want to keep all of my mowers on the trailer like I have now, I can actually open up these doors and it essentially encloses in my whole trailer. But when I want to pick up leaves, I can close these doors. I have a little latch right here, and there's two doors, one over there and one over here. And I still have room on the back side of my trailer with these doors closed to keep one of my smaller mowers just in case I need one of my smaller mowers during a leaf cleanup job. Now, the building of the box was really pretty simple. It only took me about a day and a half. It was myself and one of my buddies, and we spent about 3 to 4 hours per day, so it wasn't a very long process. It cost a little over $100, and all we used was some plyboard for the walls. Now, I did use a 4x8 plyboard for the length down here, and then I bought a 2x8 that I split in half to give myself a total of 5 feet high. And for the supports, I used very inexpensive 1x4 pine board that runs about $1.98 a piece, and that just gives me my support throughout the entirety of the box. And the doors are done pretty much the same way. We framed them out with 1x4 pine, very cheap again, same as this. We used 2 pieces of plywood. We just took one of the 4x8s, cut it in half, cut it down to fit the 6-foot opening, and then we did the same up there, added one more 1-foot piece approximately to get it up to the top 5-foot height of the enclosed box. As you can see here, the front is just primarily the plyboard. The supports run down the side here and the side here, and then holding these 2 pieces together, we have one on the inside. Now what we've done for shooting the leaves in is take the jigsaw and cut a little opening for the leaf vac to fit directly into, and the leaf vac actually sits on the tongue of my trailer. And the way I've done this is by using a couple L brackets to fit on the front, and then on the back I used some long pieces of steel, and I actually stacked 3 high. They were 1/4 inch, so I have 3/4 inch total now, and I have the back of the leaf vac sitting on that, along with a single bolt right there that runs through the leaf vac into the trailer, just to kind of keep everything mounted down. And last but definitely not least, I have a strap that runs around this bar and the bottom of the leaf vac to help hold everything down also. So just keep everything planted and everything stable. And then the tube comes off the side here, and we pull the trailer along the street after we clean up the leaves, suck them up through this tube right here, and they go directly into the box here. Now on the inside, really the only support is that 1x4 right there that helps hold the top and bottom of the front together. And then we have a 2x4 there and a 2x4 there. The reason I went with 2x4s on the front is because that is the direction the wind will be pushing. So I wanted to add just a little bit more support on the fronts, just again, because the wind's going to be creating that pressure as I'm driving down the road. And then I'm also going to run a 2x4 there because I have a couple trimmer and chainsaw hangers that I will be hanging up there, but I'll put the 2x4 on just to give some stability, because I don't think this wood is going to hold a whole lot of weight, especially 12 to 14 pound trimmers. On the doors, we went pretty simple. We just used regular old house hinges. We've got one there and then one down below there towards the bottom, just to give the door some stability. And like I said, when the doors are open here, it actually extends the length of the box, but when they're closed, like that, it shrinks the box down a little bit. It gives me some more room on my trailer. Now I know you're probably wondering about the top, because it's pretty clear that there is no top on this, and I did that purposely because I needed it to fit in my garage, and if I would have made it high enough for me to actually walk in and out of, it would not have fit through my garage door. So I came up with what I think is a pretty ingenious plan to keep the leaves inside if they are stacked up that high, but allow an open roof if need be. Let me show you what I did. So all the way down the side, I have used these little hooks here that when you spin them, one side's reverse threaded, one side's regular threaded, and it actually brings them down into each other so that you can, tension some sort of line. I have one here, I have one here in the center, one here on the front, and as we come around to this side, I have done the same thing. I have one here on the front right, one in the center, and then one on the back. And that is actually hooked to the door, but that's okay because the door is always closed when I put the tarp on the top. So what I do is I hang a tarp and it comes down over the top. I hook it into these little clips, and then once I have them all hooked in, I just spin these nuts and it pulls the tarp tight, and it gets very taut on top. I've driven around with it. I've used this method before. The only thing I might recommend, depending on how fast you're going to be driving, is putting a little hook in here to pull the tarp around the front. But overall, the tarp stays very taut. It doesn't move around a whole lot. I've never had a problem with the tarp blowing off. Now, the tarp I use is a fairly inexpensive Harbor Freight tarp. I think it costs $12. It's the 9 mil thick silver color one. The one I bought was 9 feet by 11 feet because that fit my box size perfectly. It already came with the grommets in it, so I didn't have to worry about adding grommets, which was nice. And there's enough grommets on it that I was able to get it to line up perfectly with the 1x4 supports that I put on this. So again, didn't have to add any grommets, didn't have to add any extra support. But if you find when you build your box, it doesn't add up, you can always throw another 1x4 support somewhere, on the plywood, and that's going to give you a good location to put in one of these little reverse thread tightening hooks. And the other thing that I did was leave a little bit of room in the front of my trailer, and that gave me enough space to keep my little trailer toolbox and also my trailer gas can, which I've done a review on before. This is going on a solid year, still working well. I'll leave a link to this video if you're interested in seeing that. I'll also put an affiliate link down in the comments if you're interested in something like this for your trailer. It's just a 30-gallon gas tank with a hand crank pump. And obviously, as I've already mentioned how I hooked this up, the most important part of this project is having some sort of leaf vac that you can hook to your trailer. For me, this was the best way to do it. I didn't want to have it hanging off the side because I don't have a lot of room in my garage. And I really didn't want to take up any additional room on my trailer. I did think about having it sit up on the bed of the trailer, but in my opinion, that put the head of the leaf vac way too far in, and I wanted it to be lined up just about perfect with the box, and I was able to do that. You can see the edge pretty much hits the edge of the wood. Now, the leaf vac I am using is one by Merit. That's also the company that sold me the razor, the 36-inch razor that you saw in there. And I picked up this leaf vac brand new for $3,000 a couple of years ago from Merit Hardware. I'm not necessarily advertising for them. They're okay. They did promise me a new fender for the mower, and that never came in. But overall, they've always gotten me my equipment quickly. And the $3,000 that I paid for this was actually after tax. It has an 18 horsepower Briggs & Stratton Vanguard. It runs really well, sucks really well, and it does everything that I need it to do. So again, this ran me $3,000 after tax, shipped to my house. The box, all in all, maybe $130, all wood, hinges, latches, everything said and done. I was probably in it for $130. So the most expensive part of this project is going to be your leaf vac, but you can make money back utilizing a leaf vac pretty darn quickly. Because you know, if you've ever done leaves before, you can charge anywhere from $250 to $1,000 for a little bit larger cleanup job. And if you can substitute some of that mowing with leaf cleanups and have 2 or 3 jobs a day bringing in, $700-800, or even one large job bringing in $1,000, that can be a pretty big deal. So for me, the $3,000 investment, though it may not pay off on year one, which this didn't, because you got to get your name out there. As someone who offers leaf services, within a couple years, it will pay off. And I put this on something called the Yard Card. So I'm doing interest-free payments of, I think, like $100 a month. So it pretty much equals out. The first year I pay $1,200. If I make $1,200, then I've washed. If I make $1,500, then I'm on top $300. And that's really all I'm looking to do. After 3 years, I'm paid up. Not even 3 years. I'm paid off. And this thing is just making me money. I'll tell you, the hardest thing about it is figuring out how you want to do the box. If you want to put a box on your trailer, or if you want to buy a second trailer. I live in kind of suburbia here, so having multiple trailers is fairly tough, but we are looking to move, get a bigger piece of land, and I will probably have 2 or 3 trailers. I'd like to have a dump trailer, an equipment trailer, and then a specific leaf box trailer. So that'll be one of my next moves. But for right now, this is a great way that you can still keep all of your equipment on your trailer, utilize your leaf vac without really taking up any room on your trailer itself, and make money in the fall and keep your employees around and keep them happy. Because especially if you've got some good employees, the last thing you want to do is lose them over a month or 2 of no income, because hiring new employees, it's expensive, it's not efficient, and it takes a lot of time, which is money. I think I said expensive, didn't I? So find ways, if you're going to run a lawn business, to make some money during your down season doing leaves, and let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer. Leave them down there in the chat. I'm always very quick to get back with you. And again, if you enjoyed this content, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm like 7 off. So I'd love to have you around. I got a ton of new videos in the works, a lot of great content, a lot of great information. So I look forward to seeing you around. But most importantly, hustle every day. Never stop hustling. Keep making that money. And until next time, take it easy, guys.
Hey guys, if you liked this video and you thought it helped you out, well, you can leave it a big thumbs up or a subscribe. And if you enjoy this type of content, then you can see more somewhere on the screen. Bye!